Hey everybody, John the Other here, obviously. And I have an idea that I want to pitch. I have a modest proposal to make. But before I actually make that proposal, I'm going to ask some questions to get everybody into the right frame of mind. The first is, have you ever been in a great amount of debt? Have you ever had to service a very large debt that was at the limit of or beyond the scope of what you could service? Sometimes this was through bad decision making, other times it's through factors outside your control, an economic change, the loss of a job, the closure of an industry that you work in, and so on and so forth. Now, if you ever have serviced a very large debt, you know that it puts limits on your life. It limits what you can do. It limits what you can dream of. It certainly closes off avenues in your life that you would not like to be closed off, like it stops you from pursuing an education in many cases. It stops you from pursuing options that you'd like to pursue because you have to service this debt. Having a large amount of debt is very negative for your life. And understanding that, I'm going to point out that quite a few politicians recently, notably in the United States but also in Canada, have done things like promise to forgive student debt across the board as a way of bribing people to vote for them. Vote for me, says a politician, and I'll erase your student debt. Or vote for me and I'll give you free money. And what that means is they're going to take, in the case of, say, an American politician promising to erase student debt, they're going to take the financial decision made by a lot of students to go into debt and attain an education that doesn't actually afford them any significant employment opportunities, take that bad decision made by those students and transfer that from the individuals who made that decision onto the public, and particularly onto the children of the public. So when an industry is bailed out or large-scale debt is forgiven by the government, what they're actually doing is just moving who is responsible for that debt from, say, an industry that gets bailed like the auto industry, which got bailed out in 2008 and 2009. They moved the debt created by irresponsible bankers from those bankers to the public or to the children and grandchildren of the public. So people's children would be born into a debt that they didn't create. So born into this constraint on their life, limiting their options, limiting what they can do. Basically putting people into financial servitude for decisions made by other people prior to their existing on this planet. It's grotesquely immoral. It's something that we seem to do casually without thinking as a society, and I think it needs to come to an end. So what I'm going to propose is a law to be drafted in Canada. Now, anybody connected to a politician or a legislator or a lawyer who specializes in crafting laws is welcome to take every idea that I'm putting forward here and push it forward under their own name or under anybody's name. Anybody who wants to can take these ideas. They don't have to credit me. If you want to credit me, great. I love the attention, but you certainly don't have to if you think that you can get this idea forward under a different banner. Here we go. The Debt Limitation Act 2019. I'll just move that over to the center screen there. An act to preserve fiduciary responsibility of Canada's government and implement certain amendments to other acts. Her Majesty, by and with the advice and consent of the Senate and the House of Commons of Canada, enacts as follows. This act may be cited as the Debt Limitation Act 2019 number 1. Federal Budget. Each year, the passage of Canada's national budget shall be constrained to allow for the expenditure of a financial sum no larger than the projected tax revenue for that fiscal year as projected by the Canadian Revenue Agency. Exceptions. Increases or decreases in taxation rates will be implemented only after affirmation by national referendum by attainment of a 70% or higher voter approval. Creation of new taxes or elimination of existing taxes will be implemented only after affirmation by national referendum by attainment of a 70% or higher voter approval. Funding of projects and activities. Activities and projects undertaken by government in excess of provincial, federal, or municipal budgets shall be financed by A. The investment of private interest to be solicited by whatever department seeks to build that project, or B. By voluntary public contribution to be solicited through referendum where such referendum's costs do not exceed existing federal, provincial, or municipal budget, or C. Such projects will not be undertaken. Dealing with budget overrun. In the event that a sitting Prime Minister, a sitting Finance Minister, or any other departmental head shall commit funds in the course of their ministerial duties which exceed the fiscal year's tax revenue by more than 1%, that minister, on the terminus of their elected period in office, shall be personally inheriting all public debt created under their term of office, and such debt shall be dischargeable only through payment, and will not qualify for discharge through bankruptcy filing or other legal instrument except for actual payment. In the event that a minister or former minister shall die before complete payment of such debt, that debt will transfer to that minister's spouse, siblings, children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, great-great-grandchildren, etc., until that debt is paid in full, with interest, and shall at no time qualify for discharge through bankruptcy or other legal means for any other above-named inheritors. Now that's a very short parliamentary bill, proposed for anybody who wants to take it and develop it and run with it and push it forward. And I hope this idea gains traction. If you have contact with someone running for office or someone presently in office and you think they can get their attention, put this in front of them. I do not need to have my name attached. It's the idea that matters, not my personal fame. Thanks again for your very kind attention, and as always, have a lovely, lovely day.